Hey everybody, I'm Ben Higgins.
Hey, I'm Serena Pitt.
Hey, this is Blake Moynes.
Hi, this is Alana Milne.
Hey, I'm Lindsay Hamilton.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching Bros Ceremony.
And you're watching The Bros Ceremony.
This is The Bros Ceremony.
Your journey's about to begin.
Recapping the week that was in Bachelor Nation and previewing what's to come in the next episode with some special betting odds.
Everyone can't wait to find out what happens next week.
Here are your hosts, Michael the Hound Dog Harrison and Adam Scully.
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
Will you accept this rose?
This is Katie's journey, and it's about to change. Hello and welcome inside episode 22 of the Bros Ceremony podcast. Adam Scully alongside, is that Michael Harrison? What? Is that? What? What? Is that you?
I know.
It's co-host? No, no, it is you. Oh, new hair.
It's crazy. Yeah, the hair. Oh my God, I actually look like a human being again, as opposed to the mop that I had on my hair for the last 10 months or so. It feels so unbelievably good to finally get a haircut. I swear there was more hair on the floor after the hairdresser was done with it than it was actually currently on my hair. It was on my head. It was horrific, and I'm glad. I hope to God this will be the longest I ever have to go without getting a haircut ever again the rest of my life, hopefully.
I mean, for all your hundreds of thousands of fans out there, and I'm one of them, obviously, I appreciate the Instagram post with the selfie and then like with the hair on the ground. Like, do you feel lighter? Can you shake your head? Like, what's been the thought process? I'm
not constantly playing with my hair before. I think it was just driving me crazy. Yeah. It was just so much. I also I had an incident, as it were, at work. I was talking to a couple of guys, and I was like, just before I was getting it, like two days before I was going to get a cut. And I was like, oh man, I'm so thankful I'm going to get this cut. Like, my God, my hair is so long. This is brutal. And about halfway through saying that, I went, I should probably stop this conversation because they're both bald guys. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't be complaining about my long hair here. So
I have way too much hair, member of the bald community. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I have 2 more people that hate me now. So,
okay. Joining a very short list of people.
Long list.
Well, congratulations on the new do. When I first saw you, my eyes were, like as wide as wide. Like, it was like, whoa. Wow. But you're back. You're here. Yes. We're here. Episode 22, Bro Ceremony podcast. Last week, Michael, what an episode, because past guest on the show, Blake Moynes. By the way, before we talk about Blake Moynes in this past week's episode, our episode with Blake Moynes, I believe, was episode 3 of the Bro Ceremony podcast. You can find this on YouTube, which you're watching right now. That now has over 750 views.
Oh, wow. Dang, that's fantastic. Yeah, he was as we've seen on the show, on the Bachelor show and Bachelorette, awesome dude, great guy. So I could see why a lot of people would want to see what he had to say, because they keep inviting him back onto the show. So clearly he's a pretty cool guy.
Now, what were your thoughts on how it all transpired with him coming into the house? Like, at first, that was awkward.
Well, it's just so it was one of the easiest layups in the history of the world. Like, who's going to get the one date? Obviously, it's going to be him, just to stir up trouble or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think I've said this before about like situations like that, like him coming into the house, and of course they make it seem like it's super awkward. Either A, do they just tell all the guys don't say anything for like 10 seconds, or is it literally like 1 second of silence and then it's, hey man, what's going on? But they just like, they make it seem like they, oh my God, they didn't say a word for 10 hours. It feels like, right? I'm sure it was like 5-10 seconds at most.
I'm sure it was 5-10 seconds at most. But so Blake, addressed the group, basically said what any guy would say. Hey, you know what? I know you're probably not happy with me, but hey, I'm here. And then Katie addressed the group, which I thought was a cool little twist as well. So Katie and Blake go on this date, horseback riding. Have you been horseback riding?
I have not been horseback riding before. And as Blake said, he was scared of horses or something as a kid. Yeah. It's like, oh, again, what a shocking development that he happens to be a little unsure and uneasy with them. And now they're going horseback riding. It's almost as if the producers know what they're doing, Adam.
They are brilliant, as we've spoken about at length multiple times on this show, that they really do know what they're doing. And so they have this date, and obviously the chemistry is there. They have a first kiss. Katie goes, good kisser, check. And then, what stood out to me anyway, during their dinner after, I guess, or when they're, the night portion of the date, if you will, Blake said, she gave me so much more than a rose. She gave me trust and honesty. That was almost my opening line of this podcast, but I was battling between back and forth. Any other things really stand out to you during the night portion of the one-on-one?
I just thought that they talked about how they had great chemistry, especially on the horses and stuff. And they were saying that everything was great. Maybe this is a hot take. I don't see the chemistry as much as they talk about having this chemistry. You could talk about it until you're blue in the face, but is it actually going to be a thing? I don't know. I get the impression that obviously there's some chemistry there. It's not like it's horrible, nothing there at all. But I'm not buying people online were just like, oh, he's going to win now. It's wait, no, I really don't think he will. I don't know. I don't quite get the that they actually have the smoldering chemistry needed.
Yeah, and they I'm sort of sitting on the fence, as I've actually done a lot recently, which isn't great podcasting, but I think there's potential there. I think he's one of the favorites now, personally. I mean, being the Canadian bias is obviously there. We'll get into this later, but the preview coming up for the rest of the season looks like dramatic, as always. It's always going to be the most dramatic season in Bachelor history. But so Blake and Katie, they've got what they say good chemistry. After the dinner portion, gets the rose. Then Katie says, I have one more surprise, a little private performance. Michael, of the music you listen to on a daily basis, is Lane Hardy 1 or 1A for you?
I've never heard of that individual in the history of my lifetime. So sure, absolutely.
I haven't heard of Lane Hardy as well. I was like, oh, that's.
I'm sure we've heard their music. Like I'm sure if a song would be okay, I know that song. I'm bad with knowing the names of artists and song titles, but actually to hear them, of course, I've heard that, right? But no idea. Yeah. I basically only listen to the Mole TV show soundtrack on a loop. That's pretty much the only music I listen to. Such a great soundtrack. Oh my God, what a show.
It is a great show.
Podcast about how awesome the Mole was with Anderson Cooper. I could fill up an 8-hour episode talking about how great it was. It was outstanding. And it's back on Netflix. They put it back on Netflix. So I shouldn't say back on Netflix. They put it on Netflix, even though it's from 20 years ago. So I'm hoping a whole section of fans who never saw the show before in their life will see it, be interested in it, and then maybe they'll make new ones. That's the hope.
Maybe during a break between the Bachelor series, or when there's a little break in time, we should do a podcast where we talk about the Mole, where we do a trilogy, 4 hours each one, and we just go into in-depth detail. We have Anderson Cooper on, we have the gang on. But speaking of spin-off shows or other shows, before we get going and talk about the group date a little more, some news did come out this week from the Bachelor series. Bachelor in Paradise coming back in mid-August. There are some popular names who are going to be in the mix here. In terms of you, the viewer, is Bachelor in Paradise your favorite to watch, or is The Bachelor, or is it Bachelorette?
Well, I'll answer that question. Then please tell me the people who are supposed to be on it, because I actually did not see that. I heard the news about the show coming back, but I don't know who's on it. So I'd love to know. But in terms of my favorite, it used to be absolutely my favorite with the hilariously cheesy theme song, which was amazing. And some people were like, Paradise. Wow, what a song. What vocal cord you have? What do we ask for?
Sorry.
Some people were like, "Oh, I couldn't watch because of the intro." It's like it's supposed to be cheesy, morons. It's not like, oh my God. Anyway, it used to be really good, Bachelor in Paradise, but the last couple of seasons, I thought more than ever. Of course, the show is choreographed in a way to obviously bring certain drama, blah 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 blah. But I think it was the original Blake, the stagecoach Blake, where they said stagecoach 1,000 times. That was just too much. And then it was Demi. Was it Demi?
Demi, yes.
And then I feel really bad for her girlfriend went on the show who had never been part of the Bachelor process before. and all that drama with her. I can't remember the guy's name there. I'm blanking on that, but I feel like it's more than ever the last couple of years. Bachelor in Paradise has gotten really overly scripted, like so much so. Still entertaining. So to answer the long-winded question, Love Island would be the answer. Is the best. The narrator is hilarious on that show, and I actually think in terms of the Bachelor franchise, still like the Bachelor the most.
Okay, that's fair. And I appreciate you taking 4.5 hours to answer that question because I did look up the cast of The Bachelor in Paradise. Would you like to know?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I haven't actually. I just saw one brief thing on Instagram, so I'm not going to say any names on this season if they come up.
Right. Thank you.
So,
I appreciate that.
we have Abigail, your
Nice.
favorite. We have Brendan, who was on Claire and Tasha's season. Brendan came second.
Oh, okay. I remember him. Yeah.
Kind of looks like Patrick Mahomes a little bit.
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
We have Deandra. Never heard of her. We've got Ivan from Tasha's season.
Mm-hmm.
So Ivan made it to the fantasy suite state, and
He was
wasn't
a
meant to be.
fan favorite for sure. Yep.
We have Jasenia from Matt James' season.
Love her.
We have Grocery Joe
He's
making
back,
a comeback.
Wow. Holy. Dipping back to the archives for that one.
Yep. Okay. Then we're going to scroll past that. We have Kelsey from Peter's season. Now, Kelsey is almost known more for her time, or the most she's known for her time on The Bachelor on Peter's season was when she opened a bottle of champagne and it sprayed quickly. It was shaken, not stirred, if you will. And that is a GIF online.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Then we have Kenny. Kenny was on Claire and Tasha's season.
The wrestler guy or whatever, I think.
No. This guy actually, similar to Connor the cat guy in this season. He's not one to do buttons up on his shirt.
I swear that guy was a wrestler. Kenny.
It's this guy's Kenny Brash. It's not the Kenny you're thinking of. I know who you're thinking of, but it's a different guy.
Gotcha.
We have Mari from Matt's season.
Mm-hmm.
We have.
How many people are on this damn season, by the way? Like 80 people?
It sure looks like it. We have Marissa Gunn from Peter's season. Never heard of her. We have Natasha, who was on Peter's season. I believe she's a NBA cheerleader, maybe. I don't know.
It's amazing how many these people, you watch the seasons and you get so invested in their storylines and their journey to find love and all this, their walls are down. And then the season's over and it's like, who? What? Huh? But you knew them so much during their season, and then the season's over and they're almost wiped from your memory. It's crazy how that works.
We have Noah from Tasha's season. That was great. We have Serena Chu on Matt James' season. She was.
Oh yeah, she was. Yep.
We have past Bros ceremony guest Serena Pitt from Toronto, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
She's on. We have Tajwan.
They did literally having 800 people in the season, it seems.
Literally 800 people are on the season. Tajwan was on Colton's season. Of course, Colton made some news 2 months ago, maybe. And now there's some Netflix series coming up. Good for him. We have Tammy from Peter's season. Mm-hmm. And we have, there's still like 4 more. We have one of the great characters in Bachelor history.
Daniel?
No, but that would be incredible. Queen Victoria makes a return to the Bachelor series.
Wow, you buried the lead on that one.
I'm doing it by it's alphabetical order. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Then we have Victoria Paul from Peter's season. No idea what that is. And that's it. So I wasn't counting. I think I counted. There was probably 20 people on that list. I have no idea.
Yeah, it felt like a lot more. It felt like 80,000. It's like, okay, all of these people just couldn't find love for the last several years. It's like grocery store Joe. It's amazing how I swear they're almost some of them anyway are like, we can't actually find love because I want to be on the reality show again. Like I swear they intentionally do not find love for that reason.
Well, Monday, August 16th, that is when the first episode gets underway, which means like we're halfway already through Katie's season. I mean, it's July 12th, the day this is being released. Tonight's episode is the 6th episode of the season. We're 5 weeks away, I guess, from Bachelor in Paradise. So, I mean, something's got to happen here soon, right? Like something dramatic or crazy or life altering or something bizarre is going to happen here soon. And
as we saw in the season preview or whatever, coming up this season, it was like plenty of tears were shed and it seemed wild. But yeah, there's, as I said before, there's no scenes at all from like the proposal at the end, or nothing from hometowns at all. They usually have a few nuggets in there with like maybe parents or family members, or a scene of the final ceremony to end the thing. So I wonder if the season ends on like a weird way that's not typical to a Bachelor season. I'm not sure.
As they say,
what's up?
Only time will tell. Now, getting back to recapping last week's episode, there was a group date. 13 guys, 13 of the now 15 guys were on this date, and they had a little Bachelorette bash ball battle with Wells, and I believe the guy's name was Franco, who's been on the show many times before. And so Greg, don't call me Brandon Dubinsky, seemed a little on the jealous side. I mean, it's a group date. I've never been on a group date personally. Have you been on a group date, Michael?
I have not been on a group date before, unless I'm on Bachelor in Paradise and I'm already casted on the season and I've already finished filming.
I elected to not mention some names that we were there, that I was just going through. So, I mean,
you never know, right? By the way, they said when they were trying to guess, like, who are the two guests, like you said, Wells and the other guy, and it's like they're like, oh, who's gonna be? It's someone famous, like some athlete or whatever, and they're like Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps, Dwayne Wade. Yeah, okay, yeah, Michael Jordan's gonna come on to the Bachelorette. Like, come on, so funny, so ridiculous. Like, imagine he just rolls up. Hey guys, what's up? Like, no, it's not happening, man.
Wasn't there someone like very relevant in the sports world who was on The Bachelor like a couple years ago? Maybe I remember on Ben Higgins, past guest in the show, he had one of his dates with JoJo was on Wrigley Field.
Yes, I remember that. They had I don't think you can call Jordan Rodgers, of course, Aaron Rodgers' brother. Wow. I don't think you can call Jordan relevant. I mean, he was in the NFL for a little while, like a training camp arm, which is very, very impressive, obviously.
It is.
But I don't think he was like a super, super relevant athlete or whatever. That was, it wasn't like Patrick Mahomes was actually on the show, though Brendan did look like him, like we mentioned.
I know we're going way off the rails here, and I'm here for it. I remember when golfer Adam Scott won the Masters back in 2013, there were rumors around, maybe he could be the Bachelor. I mean, he has kept his private life relatively quiet. He is married now with 1 or 2 children, I think. Not a great putter, great golf swing, questionable style. But anyway, so getting back to the Bachelorette bash battle. This game they were playing was insanely dangerous. Mm-hmm. It's essentially full contact. You're throwing a ball. I mean, no wonder there was like Michael A got crushed by Justin. Mm-hmm. You knew this was going to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously that was part of Hunter, the Hunter now stepping up to the forefront as the villain, because every single episode, the guys have to have someone else to hate. And Aaron has to be the guy to hate that guy. It's unbelievable how this guy, every single time, he's so insecure, he has to pick someone, it seems like, to target, to get rid of. And Hunter in that episode was the most aggressive, or at least that's what they were making you want to think anyway, based on the editing. And he was definitely going after people. You could say that Hunter was being being sort of a headhunter.
I thought that was going to be our word up segment. I was waiting for some sort of like long. No, okay.
A Brobdingnagian word. You did not get the Brobdingnagian word that you were looking for there.
I don't know.
That's the word for word up. The word means Brobdingnagian. It's an actual word. It means enormous. So there you go.
How do you spell that?
Brobdingnagian. Brobdingnagian.
Wow, I've never heard of that word, and I will probably never use that word in my life. But it's cool. You know what? You learn something new every time you watch the Bros Ceremony right here on YouTube. So they have this date. Michael A goes down. He ends up being fine. he couldn't really move that night. Like Katie had to like go in for the kiss because he's like, I can't move, which I mean, sure, whatever. You get hurt sometimes. Like there was some aggression. And then you mentioned Hunter. Did we know Hunter had kids?
I think I'm pretty sure the episode before, it was mentioned before at some point. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
And also, as you said, unfortunately, there was no winners or there was no winning team as that was the initial thing. And then she was like, "Oh, you guys were all winners." Oh my! Everyone gets a participation
ribbon. Yeah.
So it just seems like almost always does that happen. It's like, let's just piss the people who would have won off by just saying, "Oh, yeah, everyone wins." But usually that happens with that. But this time there didn't seem to be any animosity to those that lost or would have lost, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like, all the guys were happy to be there. I mean, I wonder how much longer. I wonder how long they actually played that game, because that's just. I mean, weren't any helmets on too? I don't think, or no mouth guards. Concussion protocol, 2021. Anyway, so Hunter, took the main stage really in terms of crushing people and physicality, and Katie seemed to like that, and Hunter got the rose, which was surprising, maybe.
I love it, though. I absolutely love it. Like I said, there has to be. It was Carl, then it was Thomas, now it's Hunter. It's so funny to me how many people watch this show and immediately want those people gone. It's like, don't you want to be entertained when you're watching the show? It's just like, no, you don't want them to be gone. But fans of the show they desperately want Hunter gone now, absolutely. And they're, oh, he's so brutal. Okay, do I think he's in it for the long haul and he's going to end up marrying her? Absolutely not. I don't think he will at all. But at least enjoy the ride of why this is entertaining, because it's unbelievable. It never fails. The men getting upset that the guy because he got the rose, then wanting to steal more time with her, and the guy, it never ends with the men or women, depending on the season, saying, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to talk to. How much time do they need? Like we've talked about with past guests, like the rose ceremony, sometimes like 8 hours long or whatever to actually film. How much time do you need? Like it just seems crazy that, no, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I swear that's just a crutch they fall on to use to justify why they haven't talked to the Bachelorette.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'm so curious when we're able to have guests on from this season, just to learn more about the whole process and how it worked this season. If there were anything, I'd be fascinated whether Blake wins or gets eliminated tonight or next week or whatever, how different the process was, or journey, if you will, was the first time and now the second time, just sort of similarities, differences, that sort of thing. So whenever Blake wants to come on our show, we'll have him back on. We'll discuss that in thorough detail. Now, speaking of Blake, because 13 of the guys were on this Bachelorette ball bash, whatever I said earlier, battle date thing. It was just Blake and Andrew, one of your picks. They're in the house together all day. Like, do you think, are they becoming best friends? And Andrew had the funny line saying, so Blake obviously, got the date card, the knock on the door, gets the date card, reads it, and Andrew goes, imagine if it just said your name again, Blake, how funny that would be.
Yeah, no, they did show a scene where it was like, oh, like it's, because usually when a new person comes into the house, everyone hates them. Again, they try to make it seem like they all hated him, but then it seemed like Blake pretty quickly, seamlessly, just like with that scene with Andrew, was able to work himself into the show, and it seems like they're already buddies with him, which is obviously underscores the fact that he is such a good guy, because I think him and Andrew have a burgeoning, or is that the right word I'm looking for? A bromance going on,
And Blake's Canadian, and everyone loves Canadians. So shout out to Hamilton, Ontario, Canada for Blake. But so I mentioned Andrew. So Andrew gets the one-on-one. Now, was it me, or did Katie and Andrew's one-on-one start at 3 o'clock in the morning? It looked like he was waiting all day, and then it was pitch black. This started at 10 o'clock at night?
I would imagine so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think they mentioned again, oh my God, I'm waiting all day. It's so damn late. It's probably the second it got black, pitch black. They're like, all right, let's do the date. Let's go. And yeah, it seemed like they had a bit more chemistry there. It seemed like he's opening up more, and they're talking about important issues that are going on in the world. And it does seem like I really believe I'm glad I made him one of my picks, a true front runner to win.
It seemed like maybe off the top, like maybe he wasn't going to get a rose. Like they cut back to the guys. Oh, I don't know if he's going to get a rose. I don't know. And then, like, of course, the way the Bachelor, editors and producers do their spiel, if you will. They, worked it back, and their chemistry was great. Now we've seen, multiple times we see the dinner, then the fireworks, but this time after their 4 a.m. date, which turned into dinner, which I guess is like a, middle of the night snack. Then no fireworks, but there was a hot tub. I thought that was a nice little twist.
Absolutely. And also, I'd love to know if you noticed this after the hot tub, going to a commercial break. Usually it's the fireworks. In this case, it was something different. The symbolism from the show, I love. It basically is like, Andrew was like, oh, I'm really into you. I love you, blah, 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 blah. And then there was a balloon pop. Commercial break. I'm like, oh, very funny symbolism. The show loves to have, because you can read between the lines what they're insinuating, that Andrew was having, maybe he was quite attracted to her. Let's put it that way. I love their little symbolisms on the show, and that one, I was dying laughing over that one.
Yeah, I mean, another way you could put it, it looked like at the start of the date, it was maybe a little uncertain at first, but then their date really popped off.
Well done, Adam. Well done indeed. Unbelievable. These bro ceremony. Oh, so good. I'm quite vulnerable, Adam,
Now I'm glad, what, like we've told our viewers before, we don't rehearse this, but the way you just created that segue for me, Michael, how many times was the term vulnerable used in this episode? Because I counted. The previous episode we talked about, I was actually thinking I was close to counting, and I completely forgot to count on this one. I'm going to go with, it was said 6 times on the episode. I counted 0.
Okay.
0 times.
I was going to say,
I was waiting for it.
I'm like, I don't remember it, but it must be like 6. That's why I guess 6 is, because I think I would have, obviously, if I had heard it, I would have clued in to think about it. So yeah, 0 times, eh?
0 times. I was flabbergasted. I thought this was one of the words they always like. You're vulnerable. You're just vulnerable, and that just never came up.
I guess they replaced that with Katie saying "real good" about 18,000 times. I did notice that one, which again is a thing that only annoys me that people say "real good" because it's actually poor grammar. It's really good is the way correctly you should say it, but everyone says "real good" nowadays, so that's accepted as being correct. It's not proper grammar. She did say that a million times because that was driving me absolutely crazy. It was real annoying.
That's something that Katie and former Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Michael Babcock have in common, saying, "Oh, real good. You're real good out there." Speaking of real good, we go. That wasn't the greatest segue. I tried there. It was a bit of a reach. Anyway, so we go to the rose ceremony. Well, everyone's looking really sharp, looking magnificent, looking great, and everyone sits down for the waiting for Katie to come to the rose ceremony. When there's just sheer silence. And again, this could have been 1 second. This could have been 10 minutes. It seemed like an hour on the show where they were just sitting there, not talking at all or anything. Anyway, so Katie shows up. Hunter pulls Katie aside. Hunter had a rose. Hunter pulls out a telescope with a couple of glasses of wine or champagne. And a lot of the guys, or Aaron and James, both weren't happy that Hunter took this time to plan something so extravagant when he already has a rose. What were your thoughts on this whole ordeal?
Well, yeah, that's what I was sort of referencing before, but these people saying, "Oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time." It's like you're all there to be able to see her, and hopefully, you guys connect and potentially get engaged at the end of this. I'm sorry, like he's not breaking any rules or whatever. Again, we've seen it. It's every season this happens with someone or people getting upset about, "Oh, I don't have enough time because of this person stealing time." Sorry, like interrupt them, which is to James's credit, he did do that because Hunter, I'm sure, will interrupt them. So then just you got to do it back, basically. And I'm sure I'm shocked that that doesn't happen more often, that they decide to interrupt them, because it's like, yeah, don't complain about it. Just go and see her. I don't quite understand why they complain so much.
I guess, you know what? The guys are all battling for time. And again, who knows how long this cocktail party was, but James went to interrupt not once, but twice. And Hunter was not happy about this. Hunter said, I lost time, but I will get it back. So obviously Hunter got a rose. The episode ended on a rose ceremony.
I was just going to say that. I'm thrilled with that. Finally, an episode ends the correct way that it used to always be, with a rose ceremony at the end, because almost never does it happen anymore. So it was so nice it finally ended with a rose ceremony.
Well, and I guess right after the rose ceremony, they do their cheers where, you know, all 15 glasses go in and they cheers to whatever. And Aaron's about to, you know, cheers to love or cheers to something. And then Hunter interrupts him. It was like, whoa, this is where things were heating up on the spice scale, a little stirring of the pot, if you will, by Hunter.
Yeah, so I, of course, immediately expected, obviously, after that, which was amazingly hilarious, there to be some big response from Aaron, and he didn't really do much. I was like, wait a minute, I thought the interruption was going to cause crazy havoc, but it never. It sort of was a bit of a letdown, because when that moment happened, like you said, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, they're not really addressing it anymore. That's kind of too bad. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a letdown.
And I guess we'll see heading into tonight's episode what transpires out of that. I mean, Hunter is now the new villain of the house. And like you've mentioned, there always has to be someone who, you know, isn't well liked, but the lead likes, in this case, Katie likes. I'm curious where they go from here, because as we also mentioned, this stunning preview of coming up next week and the rest of the season, it looks pretty epic. So Michael, are we going to see fireworks, both literally and figuratively, tonight?
I absolutely think so. And this is where things are really going to start to ratchet up, because I would say there was a good amount of the guys earlier in the season, and even in this past episode, they left in the rose ceremony, and you're almost like, I barely even know who you are. Like there was a few, you're like, wait, who?
Yeah.
So there's really very few guys, if any, now where you can actually say that about, where you're just like, I have no idea who that person is, basically. So now it seems like they're getting to the nitty gritty. Where things are going to get really real at this point. And it does look, I know they do it every time in the episode previews. It does seem like the craziest season of all time. Their montages and their teasers are second to none, Bachelor. And it does look amazing. Mm-hmm. So it does seem like, starting with tonight's episode, things are really going to get real.
It all gets underway at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, if you watch it live, or if you don't watch it live, like me, you watch it the next day on the City TV app. Now, Michael, before we go, a couple of housekeeping notes here. We'll get to our players, our men who we have chosen, on a nice friendly battle for who's right, who's correct, for, you know, a lot of glory, a lot of personal pride, hundreds of thousands of dollars, perhaps, but maybe not. But before we get to that, you are also the host of the H Dog pod. And rumor has it, quite a guest you had on your show. Tell us about this guest.
Yes, a past guest on the Bro Ceremony, actually. Lindsay Hamilton, TSN Sports Editor, anchor, and host, was on the podcast. And we were talking about The Bachelor and Bachelorette and the different people, which was a fantastic interview. She was obviously just a super awesome woman. And great talk. And we talked a little bit about, of course, The Bachelor and Bachelorette, her career, the British Open, or the Open Championship. Sorry, that's this week for golf, and who she thinks who she wants to win. It was a really good talk. And she also disclosed the time she interviewed Justin Bieber back in the day, and all of his fans, of course, loved her because she was talking to the Bieber, and it was quite a really interesting story. So. Yes, episode 68 of the H Dog pod. You can find it anywhere that you get your podcasts.
You can find, episode 68, the Yarmer Yager edition. Mm-hmm. If it's not the Yarmer Yager edition.
Oh, it definitely is.
Okay. I was about to make some interesting comments, but I'm glad it's the Yarmer Yager edition. What a legend he is. And you had the mullet. The mullet's gone. Yeah. What an opportunity lost. But you know what? You look sharp. The hair's great. Maybe you can grow it back. I hope you don't. But I think you look quite sharp. Now, speaking of quite sharp, our picks so far Hell of a segue there.
Yeah.
Our picks so far, pretty good. Pretty good. I have two men left, and you have three, correct?
Yeah, I have Trey, who I really like, and I think he's interesting, but I don't get a feeling he's gonna be in the end. I don't think he's gonna find love with Katie.
He got the final rose, right?
Yes. I believe. I obviously don't spoil anything, but I think he might be one of those guys on that list of Bachelor in Paradise, in my opinion. But again, only time will tell. Trey, Andrew, who I said seemed like a great front runner, and James, the guy who jumped out of the box in episode 1. Those are my 3 picks, and at least at this point, they're all still there, which is pretty good.
They're all still there, and for me, I had Thomas, so yikes, he's gone. I have Greg. Greg, I think, is a top 3 kind of guy. I think at this moment, and then Connor, the cat guy. At some point, he's going to do up more than one button on his button-down shirt. At some point, you would think, but they have this bond about cats. We didn't really see him too much in the last couple episodes, which I'm a fan of. He's staying out of the drama, staying clean, just staying in Katie's good books. I'm curious what happens from here, but Greg and Connor are my 2 players. You have 3 left on your squad. We shall see. Michael, again, it all gets underway tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Before we sign off here, any final thoughts?
Ooh, you always ask me this question, Adam.
I do, and you're never,
And for some reason in my head, I don't have, I haven't even I'm not prepared for it, which is so strange. It'd be important probably as a podcast host to have some final thoughts, right? No. And so perhaps these are my final thoughts. My final thoughts are that I am trying to think of some final thoughts at the end here. I do think that, like I said, this episode, really, I think is going to be a TSM turning point, perhaps, to the actual season in terms of things really ratcheting up here and becoming really quite intense. So I'm looking forward to it. The season's been very good, as we've mentioned numerous times. How Katie's been outstanding so far, and I think it's really going to get. And she's, at least for my money, been the best Bachelorette so far ever, I think. And I know that's probably recency bias, but I think she's going to continue that path.
Looking forward to seeing what happens with Katie. She's been an absolute rock star thus far. We're 5 episodes into her journey to find love. Episode 6 gets underway just hours from now, a little later tonight. Well, this has been episode 22 of the Bro Ceremony podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow and subscribe to us on YouTube. We have episodes coming out every Monday, released on YouTube, and then a clip or 2 as well on Instagram throughout the week. For Michael the Hound Dog Harrison, I'm Adam Scully. Thanks for joining us right here on the Bro Ceremony.